With the SCT410SL now taking shape and looking like an actual RC vehicle, it's time to move and start our final assembly with Bag M. A few bits of hardware in this bag to guide you with installing electronics, although we'll go through the hardware and install without electronics just to see how everything fits together. With that said, we start with the servo mount. Tekno recommend a full-size servo with at least 240 ounce-inches of torque and metal gears as a minimum with this vehicle, so we will receive a full-size servo mount with this kit bag too. I'll be installing the servo later, so for now I'll install two 10mm buttonhead screws complete with 8mm washers, just keeping them in place loosely at this stage, ready for servo installation later. Nevertheless, the mount itself attaches to the front left side of the chassis just beneath the steering assembly, and is held in place from below with three 10mm flathead screws. With that done, we insert two 20mm flathead screws with 8mm washers to the opposite side. These screw into the center brace. Again, I'm keeping these loose for now so I can remove and install the servo later. We then finish off this side with the battery guard, again with another two 10mm flathead screws from beneath. And with that, this side of the vehicle is near enough complete. Time to concentrate on the electronics side. At this point we would have installed our motor, so the pinion could now be installed, along with the ESC and a transponder if needed, just behind the motor in this area here. Again, I'll be installing electronics later, so we'll skip that for now and proceed to installing the front guard into this location, with two 10mm flathead screws from beneath the chassis. That just leaves our steering linkage. This needs creating just like we created the turnbuckles, feeding the central rod into the rod ends, and taking care not to damage the threads when feeding into place, and ultimately leaving a 3mm gap in between both rod ends. When ready, we can pop a 6mm ball stud into the straight rod end, taking care to ensure we're always pressed with the T logo visible, of course, with the opposite end securing to a servo horn. The Tekno metal servo horn is a much recommended and probably the only real upgrade you need for this vehicle, although the provided plastic does as a temporary solution. Anyway, when ready, the angled end of the steering linkage pops onto the ball stud waiting on the steering assembly. Note that only this angled link can be installed either way, again depending upon the size of your servo. Make sure everything is nice and free, and we're done with this kit bag. So Bag M is now complete. As always, everything has come along nicely so far, so we'll carry on with the final assembly in our next kit bag.